you eye to eye and say that this is Broadway royalty, people. And I'm just trying to say, his performances in works like Ain't Misbehavin', The Full Monty, and as the title role in the original Broadway production of The Wiz. Come on, Sir Shields. Sir Shields. He is more than a legend. And you only have 2 more weeks to catch his Tony Award-winning turn. And they're me. Hades Town. Come on now. Y'all go get your tickets. Because you only have 2 more weeks. Please welcome Tony, Grammy, and Emmy Award-winning performer, director, choreographer, entertainer, André the Shield.
Good evening, fellow pilgrims. See, I got you. I'll exegete the use of that term moments later. Thank you for allowing me to be here with all of you wonderful women. We need you more than ever, right now. Because the Supreme Court is trying to turn y'all into chattel all over again. Right? Have my children cook my dinner and shut the fuck up. So we're not going to have that. No. Not with the wonderful women we have here tonight to contribute. It is my distinct pleasure to speak just a little bit about Mara Isaacs. We have known each other for 3 years, so we have a relationship that's way beyond producer and cast member. We treat each other with grace, dignity, understanding. All because Anais Mitchell wrote Hadestown. And speaking of Hadestown, we have a surprise for you, Mara. So shall we just hit it? We ready?
Hey everyone, I'm Anais Mitchell, and I heard that Mara Isaacs is being honored tonight, and I so wish that I could be there in person with you all to honor Mara. Mara, as you know, I live in the middle of nowhere right now, so that's why I'm making this video from my weird little space up here in Vermont. For those of you who don't know, I have worked with Mara for years on the musical Hadestown, and Mara is one of the I believe one of the wonders of the producing world. If you know, you know. She is outwardly like a Zen master, projecting grace and calm and warmth to everyone who comes into her sphere, and internally there's like a gale force passion for what she's doing. And love, you know, it's gotta be just so much love for the theater and the art that she's making. You could not do the volume of work that she does if you didn't love it, and she does. And I'm so grateful, Mara, to have you in my life. I know I'm not the only one. I like to pretend like Hadestown is your only project, but I know it's not. And so I've joined the chorus of folks who are so blessed to have you in our sphere, and are so grateful for you and your forth, yes. Wherever he is now. birds sing when the sun shines bright. Our praise is not for them, but the ones who sing in the dead of night. We raise our cups to them, wherever he is wandering, alone upon the earth. Let our singing follow him and bring him comfort. Some flowers bloom where the green grass grows. Our praise is not for them, but the ones who bloom in the bitter snow. We raise our cups to them. We raise our cups and drink them up. We raise them high and drink them dry. To Orpheus and all of us, good night, brothers, good night.
Mara, we all raise our cups to you. Now, why did I address you as pilgrims? Here's why. We all remember that moment on the first day of a new play, where we stand in the circle, meet and greet. The day we did that for Hadestown, Mara suggested that by free association, we should say a word that would encapsulate what Hadestown meant to us. We went around the circle. Mara was last to speak, and the word she offered was caravan. If you Google the word caravan, you will discover that in the English language, it appeared early 15th century. And what it is a group of people, pilgrims, traveling especially together to achieve a journey. But if you continue following the etymology of the word caravan, it takes you prior to 15th century England. You have to know Persian, you have to know Kurdish, you have to know Urdu, you have to know Hindi. I discovered that the proto-literate definition of caravan, the word that Mara shared with us, is the chosen one. The one who brings balance and excellence to every situation. That leader who, through kindness, grace, understanding, becomes the savior of the people. Mara. A do-right woman. It gives me great pleasure to present an award to you that has two appellations: Trailblazer and Ceiling Breaker. Okay? We know why you're a trailblazer, because you have opened the doors through art to wonderful experiences like multicultural democracy, empowering women, diversity, equity, inclusion. But by breaking the ceiling, which we more often than not perceive as glass, the image we imagine is shards of glass exploding all over the place. And you think, oh, wait a minute, that glass is going to fall down on me and cut me. But when Mara breaks the ceiling, the glass ceiling, the shards go up. And by breaking that barrier, she builds bridges. It gives me great pleasure to present you with the Trailblazer Ceiling Breaker Award, Mara Isaacs.
Thank you, André. Thank you, Anais in absentia. Thank you, Lisa McNulty. Whew. André, you are always an inspiration. You're also a very tough act to follow. It is very humbling to be up here before you as the recipient of a Ceiling Breaker Award. I have to say that I never really thought about myself in those terms. I followed and was mentored by so many ceiling breakers before me. Many of them leaders, artists actually who were developed at this very organization. In fact, as I reflect on my early years of my professional practice, I naively thought the ceiling had been broken and that I had no obstacles in my path other than those of my own making. Those of you who know me, and as André has demonstrated, know that I often like to speak in metaphor. And I've been grappling to find the right image that reflects what producing feels like in this moment. And what comes to mind is the biggest, most unpredictable roller coaster ride. Only, like the airplane metaphor we've heard often, we are building this roller coaster, we are running the roller coaster, and we are riding the roller coaster all at the same time. What makes a roller coaster run? I looked this up today. Kinetic energy, friction, gravity, and potential. Picture this. You're strapped into the car, and you're lurching forward as it climbs and catches and pulls clickety-clack up the steep track. And we're using our strength and our ingenuity and our labor, and we defy physics. Actually, I guess we're not defying physics, we're actually using physics. As we crest over the top, before we begin that exhilarating descent, the thrill of the ride. The track drops out of sight, and we go into what feels like free fall. A mixture of adrenaline and terror, and then we're back on track. That's a bit of what producing feels like to me. Only now, and after these last 2 years in particular, someone keeps changing the ride. And I don't know how it's going to end. How many twists and turns and loop-de-loops can we actually handle? Maybe we thought we signed up for the revolution. That was a favorite ride of mine at Magic Mountain when I was growing up. When in fact, we're on the free fall. Or maybe it's the spinning cups that just leave you dizzy and a little nauseous. We get off, we recover ourselves, and then we get right back on again. Okay, this is where my metaphor basically runs out of steam, so now I'm going to speak to you directly. About 9 years ago, I took a leap. After working as an artistic producer and leader in the not-for-profit theater world for over 20 years, I founded Octopus Theatricals in order to control my own destiny. I didn't really know what was to come. All I knew was that there had to be a way to support the making of work across a wide spectrum, from experimental to mainstream, with emerging and established artists, bringing diverse voices and diverse aesthetics to the stage, all in service of singular artists, creating singular theatrical experiences, whether they are in the smallest of venues, like Theater for One, on Broadway, like Hadestown, or SoMe's Streaming Zenzile, which you're going to hear a little bit of in a minute, created by an artist blurring lines between traditionally separate sectors of jazz performance and theater. It's easy now to look back and trace a path, but it wasn't there when I started. I was, however, armed with a set of values and guiding principles that were key to the choices I made. I believe in making work that matters, that is deeply rooted in artistry and inclusion, and that reflects our role as global citizens, all while having a good time. Maybe it's because I'm a product of the not-for-profit sector, but I believe we must start with our values and our principles and our vision. What stories are we telling and why? Who are we making it for? Are we embodying our values in the way that we are creating? I tend to operate on instinct, to build a team based on trust and mutual respect, and together forge a path that is unique to the needs and potential of any particular artist or project. I may not always start with a plan, but I do start with a reason. So what does the future hold? We must, as a community, challenge ourselves to make sure we have a viable ecosystem that supports the full spectrum of artists and audiences. WP is an essential part of that ecosystem. The future theater I envision is driven by mission and purpose, resists the commoditization of the work, and reinstates rigor in place of complacency. We must communicate, build trust, and create the conditions for values-driven practice. We must examine the ways in which we deal with each other and work with each other. We must nurture a field that embodies equitable practice and the diversity of our society. None of this happens alone or in a vacuum, and I want to acknowledge the many artists who have put their trust in me, and the producing partners, including the many not-for-profit organizations, the investors, the commercial partners, my team at Octopus Theatricals. And a special shout out to Seth and Renee, who simultaneously provide me with unwavering support while making sure to keep me humble. I have to be honest and say it's hard to celebrate the idea of being a ceiling breaker when there is so much work to do. Our rights as women, the right to control our own bodies, the rights to express our full selves, among other things, are under an assault like we have not seen in decades. Hate crimes grow in number and impact, and I can't ignore the horrific attack in Buffalo this weekend. Our society risks becoming numb with division and violence that defies the hope I have for the world. While I still believe that our art can help move the world forward, I cannot stand here before you without admitting that my confidence is a little shaken. And yet, I celebrate the courage, tenacity, and optimism that is our field. Organizations like WP are key to this. We are still moving forward, finding ways to harness kinetic energy, gravity, friction, to realize our full potential. Events like this are the living embodiment of our resilience, and I can think of no other group of people who demonstrate that kind of ingenuity and tenacity than those of us who make theater. I do believe that we can move the field forward together, regardless of the challenges, and I'm strapping myself in and ready to go on the ride. See you.